That was the late, great Prince with Calling My Name. And we're back on the All the Above show. And right now, without further ado, we have Judge Miss Michelle McElwee and also her opposing candidate, Miss Kendra Coleman. How you doing, ladies?
Doing really good. Thank you for having us.
I am well, thank you for asking.
All right, so give the people a little bit about yourself. First up, we'll go with Miss Michelle McElwee, the current judge.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am Michelle McElwee. I'm district judge in Oklahoma County. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City, graduated from Millwood High School in 1990. I was on the basketball team that won the state championship that year, so
Okay.
give it up for the Falcons.
Okay.
Went to Oklahoma University in college, graduated with a degree in secondary social studies education. Then I was a high school teacher and a coach in the Oklahoma City area, mainly at Southeast.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm a
Yes.
former student. Former student.
Exactly. And after 5 years of that, I decided to go to law school, went to school at night, worked full-time during the day at the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals, and then I've been a practicing attorney in the courthouse for 14 years. I've been a judge for 2.5 years. I have a criminal felony docket that I handle right now. Before that, when I got on the bench, I did drug court, mental health court. Those are specialty courts to provide a way, instead of sending someone to prison, to get them treatment and help, which could resolve their cases and dismissals. Before I became a judge, I've been on both sides of the criminal field, assistant district attorney, where I was the last 5 years in the Special Victims Unit, prosecuting nothing but sex crimes and crimes against children, and then, of course, murder cases. And then before that, I was a assistant public defender, where I represented people for general felony crimes, all different types. So I've done over 25 jury trials. I'm been working hard all the time since I've been out of college, full time at night, and that's who I am, and I want to continue doing this work, this enormous, responsible job for the state of Oklahoma and my community.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Miss Coleman.
I am Kendra Coleman, and I am your candidate for District Judge for District 7, Office 9. I am a 1994 graduate of Star Spencer High School, Yay Bobcats. We were the 3A champions for basketball last year. I participated. Not on the court, but I like to say I made a contribution.
Okay.
I'm a member of the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church, have been since about 2001. Prior to that, I was basically born and raised in First Baptist Church of Green Pasture. Shout out to 7308 Foe.
Okay.
Where my uncle is the pastor right now, and really was my entire life. I went to Fort Valley State University in South Georgia on a full scholarship. I earned an accounting degree there. Lived in Atlanta for about a year, then moved back to Oklahoma City because I missed home. So I was in Georgia 5 years, came home, went to graduate school at Oklahoma City University. I earned a master's of business administration with a focus in marketing from Oklahoma City University. And while I was there, my business law teacher was a practicing attorney. And after talking to her, I decided to go to law school, and I haven't looked back since. So I went to Oklahoma City University School of Law, graduated, and I knew then that I wanted to be a defense attorney. And so I graduated, and I opened my own practice. It's called the Gill Law Firm, PLLC. And I have been practicing as a solo practitioner ever since. I am now, even as I campaign, which, as I said earlier, it feels like a full-time job. So, but I've been a member, an active member of this community my entire life, absent the 5 years of going to college. I think that people will give me a pass for that. But right now, I am an active member of that community. I sit on a lot of roundtables, boards, make commitments to, and follow through on those commitments to my community. I actually do a free legal clinic because once a month. I do it at Mary Mahoney in Spencer, Oklahoma, and then I do the other one the following month at Perry Clausen, which is at Metro Tech, right in the heart of Northeast Oklahoma City. And the reason we started the clinic in Spencer and we added the one at Metro Tech, but it's because the transportation out in Spencer is bad. So there's the bus goes there, but it only goes twice a day. And people don't have the same access to resources as you do in the inner city. And so we wanted to make sure that people had access to legal advice, or sometimes they don't really need a whole lot. It's just like filling out a paper or helping them to understand something. So I do that. I volunteer at the schools. I go and speak at their morning assemblies, or at fifth grade. Last year I did the 5th grade graduation at Green Pastures, which is always amazing. I actually was canvassing door to door a couple of weeks ago. And as I walked up to a house, a parent said, "You were at Rogers the other day, weren't you?" And I was like, "Were you there?" And they were like, "No," but my son said, "That's the lady that came to our school." So that's always rewarding. So I participate in a lot of things in our community, and I want to continue to do that. The main reason, well, I won't say the main reason, but that's one of the reasons I am committed to winning this election and sitting in this seat. I think the person that sits in this seat should be a part of the community. I think they should be recognizable and accessible. I don't think that should be a new thing. I think that it's important that our children and our community members, even, because there are some adults that think these types of things are out of reach. I would have been one of those children as I was growing up. I didn't grow up knowing lawyers or knowing judges or living in the house with lawyers and judges or anything like that. This was work for me. And I want other people in our community to know it's okay. However you grew up or however you live, you've got an opportunity to do any and everything you want to do, just like the next person next to you. And that has been the feedback that I've gotten, and it's really, really rewarding, really humbling as well, because people are so encouraging and so nice. So I'm committed to doing this job. I want to do it with compassion and fairness and understanding. But of course we have to follow the law, so I'm committed to that as well. Let's be clear.
Okay. I mean, that's the gist of it. But let me ask, I want to pose a question to both of y'all. What makes a good judge? Whichever one want to go first, it's up to you.
Well, I believe what makes a good judge is, number one, having respect for people, making the commitment and understanding that when people come before you, they deserve to be treated respectfully. It takes a lot of study in the law. You do need to have experience. Courtroom trial procedures, being able to make decisions, evidentiary rulings, things of that nature, and also being able to be fair. Another thing that is totally, your demeanor is very important, to make sure that everyone that comes before you, they deserve the attention and total dedication to their case. And yes, I have dockets that, maybe there's 100 cases on it, or there's, a lot of things going on. But each case deserves separate consideration. Each case is very fact specific. Then being able to apply all of those things with the law. The laws of Oklahoma, the laws of the United States. Making sure that everyone's rights are protected. The judicial system and judges are very important. It's always been important. It's the third branch of government, but it is right now. It's severely important. It is every one of us, our individual rights. The judges and the judicial system is your last defense to your rights being protected, and so that's. Having that knowledge and the work ethic and being able to study and keep up on the law and take every case very seriously, that's very important. Throughout my years at the courthouse, I will tell you, I didn't walk into the courthouse wanting to be a judge. That wasn't a lifetime or childhood dream of mine. It was working with defendants, with their families. As a public defender, it was working as an assistant district attorney, working with victims and their families, and sometimes it required working with defendants and their families. And so doing that is what put it upon me to understand that it is very important to have judges that are fair, that are considerate of the situations, and I've seen and been around many situations, and that's why I want to be judge and continue to do the job that I've been doing every day. And those are the qualities I think that a judge needs. And experience is very much needed to be a judge. Maybe from the outside looking in, when you see someone sitting up on the bench with a black robe on, it looks like it's easy. I can make that call. It's kind of like anything else. It can always look easy from the outside, but until you're in it and doing it well, it takes work and it takes experience.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Ms. Coleman.
All the things that Ms. McElwee said are true. You do need to study. You do need to have a good disposition and demeanor, and you do need to be fair. I would disagree with the necessity of experience, because you can gain that experience. Every new judge comes there with no judicial experience. On the ballot for my specific district, there will be 3 situations two where there will definitely be a new judge, and I say 3 because I don't get any things to lose. So, but having said that, I also think that it's important to have compassion and to have an understanding and to be relatable as a judge, and to have a good rapport with people in general, and to be able to see both sides of the coin. Every person that puts their name, or that is permitted to put their name on the ballot to become a judge, can read and study, because we've all gone to law school. We have to have that baseline. So Michelle and I would share those qualities. And that's something that you'll have to do. It's your job, and I'm committed. Whatever job I take, I'm committed to doing that job. So when elected, of course I'll stay abreast of the law. Of course I'll be understanding and fair, and apply the laws of the state of Oklahoma to every case. But I think it's wider than that. It's not just a black and white situation. It couldn't be, or judges wouldn't have so much discretion. And judges do have a lot of discretion, and I think that's where the other qualities that I have mentioned come in. I know Ms. McElwee indicated that she had worked both sides of the law, being a public defender and a prosecutor. But I think what also needs to be mentioned is that, but the majority of her career, she's been a prosecutor, I think just under 13 years. And I think it's important, right now, the bench is full of prosecutors. And I don't know if everyone understands how judges are, like special judges, they're hired by the district judges, and then those judges are prosecutors. So what is important, I think, is that there be other opinions and other perspectives at the table. If everybody at the district judge table is a prosecutor, then we know what's going to come out of it, right? I think that it's important that there be other perspectives, that you can have an open and productive conversation when you've got ideas and experiences, not just from one side of this coin. So I think that's important, and I bring that.
Okay. All right. I mean, 2 pretty good answers. What you think?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. You gotta get out and vote November 6th.
You gotta get out and vote. Do your research. But another question I want to pose real quick: jail reform in Oklahoma. It was something that was put on the ballot a few years back, and the people approved it. What's taking it so long to actually reach the people, and what are your understandings of the whole situation?
Could you repeat that? I missed what you said. What reform?
Yeah, the jail reform. Remember a few years back they put on the ballot. The people said yes, we want something done about this, because here in the state of Oklahoma, we're number 1 in the nation in incarceration.
Right.
And so, what's being done about that, and what's taking so long for it to reach the people? And once you're in office or you retain the seat, what are you going to do to help bring some of that down, get Oklahoma, from not being number 1 in incarceration?
Well, first of all, there's criminal justice reform that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The state of the law, and there's a big swing in criminal justice reform that is affecting the range of punishments for crimes, that is affecting or movement to give the opportunity for people to not go to prison so easily, because the way the state of the law is right now, anybody, if you have 2, for the most part, in general terms, if you have 2 prior felony convictions, the court, knowing this is the law, this is what the law is, cannot give someone probation unless the state, the DA's office, waives the prohibition against a suspended. So it's kind of that 3 strikes you're out, you know, if you have 2 prior felony convictions. There is movement in some ways to be able to extend that through the criminal justice reform and new laws, to extend it maybe to 4, 3 felony convictions or something like that. So it's just watching how the laws progress. That is not something that the court can control.
Yeah.
The court, the judges, have to follow the law as it is. And a lot of these movements too that are happening, people should understand that most of the time those aren't applied retroactively. So whatever the law is, the state of the law at the time that the crime is committed, that is the law that the court must apply at that time. So unless there are specific things that are done to make it effective, and that doesn't happen, then
Your hands are tied.
yeah.
pretty much.
And another movement too within the Department of Corrections, once the court sentences someone, except for the violent offenses that are considered 85% crimes, where the law says a person would have to serve 85% day for day without any good time credits before being eligible for parole. Minus those, the Department of Corrections has total control of what type of credits and how much time someone actually serves on other types of crimes. So as long as the Department of Corrections is not, their hands aren't tied by a statute, the law, then they can fulfill those sentences with giving them credits how they choose.
Yeah.
So again, I also mentioned earlier programs like drug court, mental health court, those to treat people with addictions. They can result, after they go through that program and their cases being dismissed, it's an alternative to sending them to prison. And then you have Remerge. It's a program that is specific for women with children. It's another alternative expansion. There's the Veterans Diversion Program for veterans to be able to come in, and that is actually done, the DA's office and the Public Defender's office work that program, so that those are all types of things to provide people with help and give them assistance without sending them to prison. So, in answer to your question, it's going to take a lot of work, and a lot of that has to come through criminal justice reform, and then the courts, the judge, me, can consider all the things that are allowed to people by law, and make those judgments. You understand that on a daily basis, most agreements, most people plead guilty or get sentenced per plea agreements with the state of Oklahoma. And that's before me, I'll take the plea, accept plea agreements, but some of those things, the court, our hands are tied to the law, because that's the duty that I have, is to follow the law.
Okay. All right, Ms. Coleman.
I think your question is, what do we think about, or what are, maybe what I understood to be what are our hopes for criminal justice reform? And so what I will say is, I will agree with Ms. McElwee that judges have to follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
But I would disagree a little bit with the fact that you have to accept the plea agreements, because the judge does not. In fact, that's a statement that's made when accepting a plea agreement, and that's something that you have to inform your client as a defense attorney, that this is what we're presenting to the court, but the court does not have to accept it.
I don't think I said I'd have to. I think I said I do accept them.
Okay, so let me be clear. She does not have to.
Okay.
or a judge does not have to. So what I would like is for more opportunity for something other than prison. What ends up happening in a lot of these plea agreements is, well, in all of them, defense attorneys go and talk to the prosecutors and get a reg, and then they talk to their client, and it's just a negotiation, absent going to jury trial. And oftentimes programs like what Ms. McElwee indicated, Remerge and the Veterans Program, all of those things, they're not often offered to people of color. That's one of the things that I've noticed. I've been to graduation, specifically the last Remerge graduation that I went to. I didn't see any of that. I wish they were it was more equally distributed. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's not intentional on, maybe it's not intentional for some people, but what I would like is for that information to be available, or promoted for others and people that we know need it. We know need it. Because what I'll say about Remerge, because I'm really, really impressed with the Remerge program, those ladies come out with jobs at like Chesapeake or Devon, jobs that people don't have a criminal past or a criminal history don't have. So they're really, really great programs, really, really great opportunities to turn your life around. But the scope is, the opportunity to participate is limited. They have a super, super long waiting list and things like that. So I get that. So what I would like to see is more programs like Remerge offered to a more diverse base of people, and opportunities for people to be knowledgeable about those things. So, but let me say, I again agree with Ms. McElwee that that's not the job of the bench to make that reform. It's the job of our legislators. And so again, we have to vote, and we have to be knowledgeable about the people that we're voting for, know what we want them to do, and then hold them accountable. I'm a part of the social justice ministry at my church, the Greater Mount Olive Baptist Church. Shout out. And one of the things that we had a meeting recently that we're planning to do is have an accountability session for elected officials twice a year. And I think that's important, and that was my suggestion. I've been talking about it for years. Just for elected officials to come back and get questions and answers from the people that are voting for them, absent asking for a vote. Nobody wants to only talk to somebody when they're asking for something. You know what I'm saying? And then when you vote someone in, oftentimes the response is negative because you don't understand what's going on. But if you have an opportunity to talk in between time, then maybe you have a better understanding of what that person's job is. Because certainly the job is more difficult than it looks. Any job. Being a legislator can't be easy. Being a judge can't be easy. So people that don't participate in it won't ever know that unless they're able to talk to their legislators, talk to their judges, talk to their city council members, talk to their school board members, absent the people asking for a vote. I submit myself to my community all the time, and I will continue to do that after I win and become this district's judge.
Okay. Once again, two good answers.
I know.
Two good answers, and like both of them said, once it gets to their to the courtroom, their hands are tied on what they can and can't do. Yes, there's some leeway in it, but at the same time, when it's time for sentencing, hey, if this crime carries this sentence, they have to follow the law too. And that's why I tell a lot of people, you can't get mad at, once you get in there to the courtroom, you should have been voting beforehand to make sure that these people change, certain rules and certain laws. Because the judge, they still got to do their job. Just like you got to do your job where you work at, they got rules. They got rules over here. And people just have to understand, stay out of these situations.
Yeah, do not go before the judge.
If you can, don't end up in there, because like she said, if it's something that say, hey, once you get 2 felonies, you hit your third, you have to go and sit down. I've got 2 good friends of mine who one was sentenced to 20, and he has to do 10, and the other one was sentenced to 20, and he has to do 8. You do the crime, you do the time. The judges' hands are tied. It's not like what everybody wants it to be. Like I said, the best way to do it is stay out of the situation.
I agree, but I did pick up something. I wish those programs were offered to everyone.
And they are.
Yeah.
They are offered to everyone.
Are they equally offered?
And it's even posted in the courthouse. And you have to understand that even those programs, there are things kind of like that can prohibit you from being in the program, depending on if you have a violent crime in your past. If you've there are things that prohibit people from being in the program, but they're posted, and in fact, the DA's office and the public defender's office together, they are to screen every case that gets filed in Oklahoma County. And so the program is available. A lot of people ask for them. Not everybody gets in the program, but there are certain things that do keep people out of the programs. Violent histories,
Well, that makes
things
sense.
like that.
And thanks for clearing that up for me, because I don't know how it works. I hope I never have to know. We're not going there. But I would say if you have to go before a judge, make sure you talk to your attorney about all of your options. I mean, and that may be a question, because you may not know. What are all of my options?
Right.
That's the best thing. You got to get informed on the options and make sure that you're making the best decision. But we got to go to a real quick break. Right now I got Etta James with I'd Rather Go Blind, and we'll be back in just a moment.